Mary says you tapped out.
I tapped out. Okay. Today we're going to be in chapter number 23. But I am going to back up to chapter number 22. I told you I was going to be Steve. That's what we do. Okay.
That's okay.
I'm just going to back up, read a little bit of chapter 22, just so we can see what's going on when Joe starts off. Joe's going to be speaking in chapter number 23. But, you know, as we went out, who was speaking in chapter 22? You remember? Eliphaz. His buddy Eliphaz. Those one of the three friends who came to speak with him. So Eliphaz was speaking when we left last week. I'm going to give you the last thing that Eliphaz was saying. Here is what Eliphaz left him with. If thou shalt return unto the Almighty, thou shalt be built up. Thou shalt put away iniquity from thy tabernacles. Then shalt thou lay up gold as dust, and the gold of Ophir as the stones of the brooks. Yea, the Almighty shall be thy defense, and thou shalt have plenty of silver. But then shalt thou have thy delight in the Almighty, and shalt lift up thy face unto God. Thou shalt make thy prayer unto him, and he shall hear thee, and thou shalt pay thy vows. Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee, and the light shall shine upon thy ways. When men are cast down, then shalt thou say, there is lifting up, and he shall save the humble person. He shall deliver the island of the innocent, and it is delivered by the pureness of thine hands. So that was the last thing that Eliphaz had said to him. What is Eliphaz saying to Job? What is he trying to get him to understand? Say again? That is in the essence of what he's saying. What he's telling him, if you would return to the Lord, all of this stuff wouldn't be happening to you. All of your stuff that has been taken will come back. The Lord will be in favor with you again, and you can your riches will be returned. The Lord's face will shine upon you again, and you will be in good favor. You can pray, and the Lord will hear you, and he will answer you. He is told his three friends, Job's three friends, are saying to him, the reason you're in the position you're in right now is because you turned away from God. Is Job taking that pretty well? No. Job's not believing that? Well,
he never did turn away from God, did he?
No.
no, not according to what we read.
Right.
But his friends who came to help him,
Says they did.
well, no, they didn't. They didn't help him at all.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They say that he turned against God.
And why were they saying to turn from God?
All the bad things happened to him.
They were saying that bad things only happen to people that did bad stuff. Yes.
So, you really gotta watch, when you see somebody from the church also, how we say stuff to them. If they did something, well, if we see something wrong with them, and it look like it's sin did something, sometimes they see people, and we say, well, that person, I guess. And but this is a bad spirit coming on us, saying, well, hey, they did this, they did that, but we really don't know, what happened, until we know. We need to pray for it.
I agree with, I'm sorry, go ahead.
We need to encourage them.
I agree with that, and I'll say this. When we see someone coming in church, we should be thinking one thing. They're coming to hear from the Lord. They're not coming to hear from you. That's what we should be thinking. I don't care who we see coming through that door, unless the Spirit of the Lord tells you, as that one day I saw this one man walk in, and the Spirit spoke, You remember that one guy? Unless the Spirit of the Lord tells you something specific, they're coming to hear from the Lord. That's the only thing we should be thinking. That's the only thing we should be thinking. Unless, of course, we just saw him rob the bank down the street. That's the only other thing we should be thinking. I don't care if you know that person was a murderer. When you see him coming through that door, you should be thinking he's coming to hear from God. That's what we should be thinking. These guys, this was their friend. They came to help him. Now, and as you've heard Steve say before, in this particular day, they believed if you had riches, children, possessions, you were blessed of God. And you lost all that, then you were cursed of God. That was their belief. And unfortunately, that's what people believe today. And so that's what they believe. So Job lost everything. So naturally they're thinking, you're cursed of God and you must have sinned. So that was their advice. So Job is getting ready to speak now. He has listened to them for the last 22 chapters. And Job is ready to speak. So we're going to start here in chapter number 23. Then Job answered and said, even today is my complaint bitter. My stroke, or my condition, my stroke is heavier than my groaning. Oh, that I knew where I might find him, God, that I might come even to his seat. I would order my cause before him and will fill my mouth with arguments. I would show the word which he would answer me. I'm sorry, I just misread that. I would know the words which he would answer me and understand what he would say unto me. Will he plead against me with his great power? Job's answer is no. They are saying he would, but he would put strength in me. There the righteous might dispute with me. So should I be delivered forever from my judge. Job is saying, you guys are saying he's going to do all of these things, but I'm telling you, that's not the way God works. If I could only find out where he is, I would go to him, because you guys are wrong. You guys are wrong. You're saying all of this stuff, but if I can only find out where he is, I would go to his court, because you guys have lost your mind. You guys have lost your mind. Let me get, I got my notes over here. I want to try to do a little bit better job of explaining this, so I wrote some notes down for you today. So what does he say? He said, I hear what you're saying, but I'm complaining too much. But no, I'm not. What has happened to me is greater than the words that I'm speaking. My condition is heavier than my complaining. I have a right to complain. I'm not complaining to you. I'm complaining to the one that can do something about it. If I knew where he was at, I'd go to his court, because you guys ain't no good. You're not helping me at all. You come here and you make things worse. You're not even trying to help me. You're just here telling me how bad I am. I would go and lay out my case against him and present my arguments. I would. You're saying I have no right to go before God, but I would go before God and lay out my arguments. Then I would listen to his reply and understand what he says to me. I don't believe that he would I don't believe that he would argue against me. I don't believe he would use his great power. I believe he would make me able to hear. Because honest people, he's saying I am, honest people can go before him and expect and be acquitted of what you guys are judging me on. Does that sound like God? It doesn't sound like God. You're a bad person. You messed up. You're out of here. Which one sounds more like God? Think about that. Yes, ma'am.
Back then, that was pretty much where God was. He was the type of God that if he didn't do what he said he did, then he could open the ground and swallow.
He could.
He could. I'm not saying he did it a lot. He did, I would believe, I think I remember one time when he did
One
that.
time.
And that was in the desert.
This is what these guys are saying. If you were bad, if you were sinful, you gotta remember now, if you were bad, if you were sinful, God cut you off right now. That's what they said.
I don't think that was true because God's unchanging. And we just didn't know God would be honored because we don't get punished here on earth. And even when I went through everything that I went through, I didn't feel like God was punishing me. I didn't think it was from anything I did either. Maybe I was ignorant. I don't know. But I knew bad things were going on, but I never blamed God. And I always knew that He was able to do everything that He's done for me.
Okay, good answer. Everybody said, okay, stop, let me do this way. I'm not Pastor Steve, right? So I'm not gonna get to you like Pastor Steve. All the sinners in this room, how many of us are dead? But I'm not saying, did God judge you while you were here?
No.
Hey, just think about it. Y'all been listening to Pastor Steve for the last, I don't know how many weeks. And he has plainly said, and we've read it from the book of Job, God doesn't judge us here.
No.
And this is what Job has been saying all along. This is what these guys are saying. This is God's judgment on you. It's not God's judgment on you. You got some bad things happen. That's not God. God judges us when? We're not judged. You have some bad things happen, but that's not your judgment. Job is having some bad things that's happened, but it's not his judgment. Yes, ma'am.
Because if we were just here, we'd be scorched without
And we would all be, y'all be blacker than me.
every one of us
Yeah.
without Jesus.
Yeah, everybody would be. If we were all judged here, there would have to be some more people in this room. Couldn't be us. I hope nobody gets offended by me saying that. That's for the people on TV. But we all be ashes. We'll be done. And Job is going to get to that. This is not judgment. Okay, verse number 8. And this is what Job has been trying to tell them all along. And they're saying, well, God wouldn't talk to you, that God won't talk to you. And Job has been feeling like God is not listening to him. And he's feeling like he can't hear from God. Well, he can't hear from God, he thinks. That's what he said. But remember a couple of chapters ago, he said, I know that my Redeemer lives, because God had shown him that he was going to be delivered. Well, he's hearing from God, but he has forgotten because his stroke is greater than his complaint. But he's not hearing like he used to hear. So he's forgotten that he's heard from God.
Then the flesh,
I'm sorry.
he's not hearing, because he's not walking in the spirit. So he's walking
Well,
in
he
the
never walked in the spirit because the spirit hadn't been given.
Then why did he just forgot what God had told him?
Oh, of course, he was in such misery. He was in such pain. He knew that God had spoke to him because remember he told his friends, I know that my Redeemer.
Yeah.
He knew that. And how could he know that except the Redeemer spoke to him?
But that wasn't the spirit of God.
Yeah, but your question was he walking in the spirit? No, he wasn't walking in the spirit. You can't walk in the spirit until after the spirit is given. The spirit had
After Jesus ascended.
exactly. So he had heard the spirit, but he had not walked in the spirit yet. Excuse me, but I took some medication before I came and it dries me out. I actually should have an IV or something. My mouth is just so dry. There's nothing I can do about that. Job says this, behold, I go forward, but he is not there. He says, remember he just gave the discourse. If I could find him, if I knew where he was, I'd go to his court in heaven and put my argument out. Behold, I go forward, but he is not there. And backward, but I cannot perceive him. I don't see him. On the left, where he works, but I cannot behold him. He hides himself on the right hand that I cannot see him. Now, we know that's true. Neither one of us has seen God because he just does not let us see him. You can look. There was a time that when the Lord, I just tell these stories to you all the time. The Lord would wake me up, usually around 3 o'clock in the morning, and I would get up and
Yes.
usually about 3 o'clock in the morning, It was my special time with the Lord. And I would get up to go pray. And he never met me in the same place. I had to walk through the house to find him wherever he was. And it was almost to me like we were playing hide and seek. So I had to go to every room until I found him, and then I could kneel down and pray. That went on for a long time. Happy tears. And then I had to kneel down and pray. And that's what this reminded me of. Job said, no matter where I go, I can't find him. He hides himself from me. That's a real thing. That's what it reminded me of. Job says, no matter where I look, I cannot find him. But if I only knew, on the left hand where he does work, but I cannot behold him, he hides himself on the right hand, that I cannot see him. But he knoweth the way that I take.
Yes, yes.
When he hath tried me, I shall come forth as gold. No matter what I'm going through, when he tries me, no matter what is happening, when he tries me, I will come forth as gold. It's just like the refiner's fire. He puts that junk in the fire, that's what it looks like, and it heats it up, and all the impurities comes out, and nothing is left. If it's silver, it's just all silver, and all of that junk goes away. Man, I was reading all this. It's just when you see it. Okay, all right. What is Job saying? He says, honest people. Okay, where is Pete at? I needed to read one again. Honest people can reason with him, so I would be acquitted. I'm going back to verse 7. I'll be acquitted by the judge. He says, here's what he said, verse number 8. I go forward. He said, if I look to the east, he's not there. I look to the west. I look everywhere. That's all he's saying. I cannot find him. East, west, north, south. I can't find him. But he knows where I'm going. In other words, he's watching me. Everywhere I go, he just moves. I can't find him where I'm going. He's watching. He knows where I'm going. Why? How does he know that? Because he's watching. But when he tests me, I will come out as pure gold. You guys are saying I'm this bad person, but when God tests me, I will come forth pure. I'll be spotless. So he ain't paying any attention to what they're saying. He's talking about what he knows. This is what is important. You have to know who you are in God.
Yes, yes.
People will say this. I remember asking my pastor one time, and I tell you, my pastor, as far as I'm concerned, is the greatest pastor in the world. And I'm not saying this because I think you might happen across this on YouTube. I'm saying this because I believe this is my whole heart. My pastor was the greatest pastor in the world. And I asked him one day about the purpose. And because he answered, as a man would answer, about purpose. That's how he answered. And this is how the Spirit answered. Jesus was perfect.
Yeah.
And nobody saw him as perfect. The only perfection you're ever going to reach is in the eye of God. You can't be perfect in these eyes. You can only be perfect in God's eyes. The Word of God says, be perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. So you are perfect when you're in Jesus. Nobody is ever going to see you perfect. The Word of God calls you to be perfect. So your perfection is in Him.
That's right.
So you have to understand that. So people start talking about how bad you are, how wicked you are. If you're in Jesus Christ, the perfect as you're ever going to be. People start telling you how bad you are. Don't worry about what they say. They can't see. They just can't see. If they didn't see Jesus as perfect, ain't no way in the world they're going to see Jesus. Never. So you got to see you the way the Lord sees you.
Amen.
Yes, ma'am.
And he said, encourage yourself in the Lord.
Encourage yourself. If you're waiting for someone else to encourage you, you'll be in a bad shape. You have to encourage yourself.
Yes.
You've got to encourage yourself. If you're waiting for your family to encourage you, most likely not going to happen. You have to know what the Word of God says about you. People say, oh, you think you're all that? No, but my Father does. And that's all that matters. What do you mean your Father does? Oh, that's right, you don't know my Father, I'm sorry. And I say this to Christian people all the time. You have to know what the Word of God says about you and believe what the Word says no matter what the world says. Another thing I used to say, I know it sounds crazy or stupid or dumb. The only difference between the world and the Word is the L. And so the question to ask yourself is this: what in the L do you want? Think about that. I know. So you get there and you got the Word. So listen to what the Word says. So if Job goes on, where did I stop at? Number 10. But he knows the way that I take. So God knows the way that I take. He knows everywhere that I go. When he has tried me, I shall come forth as gold. I don't care what you guys are saying. I know what I'm going to be like when he gets done with me. You see, Job is saying, I can't hear him, but he knows all of this. Who told him all this? I know what's going to happen with me when God gets done with me. I'm going to come forth as gold. Everything is going to be all right. But he knows this, but at the same time, he's complaining about his condition. Things that you know on the inside has to be revealed to you by the Spirit. Because the people ain't telling him this. They're telling him how bad he is and all the stuff that he's committed. This is why God is not talking to you. This is why you can't get a prayer through to God. And he's saying, yeah, but God knows the way that I am. He knows the way that I take. And when he's tried me, I shall come forth as gold. My foot has held his steps, verse number 11. His way have I kept, and I have not declined from that. Neither have I gone back from his commandment. I haven't gone back from the commandments of his lips. I have esteemed the words of his mouth more than my necessary food. Where's he getting all this from if he can't hear from God? Got to remember, he don't have a Bible. The Bible wasn't written yet.
Is that because he was talking with God?
That's because at least God was talking to him.
Yeah.
He was getting it from somewhere. They didn't have Bibles. Yes, ma'am.
Job had a personal relationship.
He had a relationship that we don't know. Well, as Pastor Steve asks this question all the time. I forgot what it was now. How was Job? He had a relationship, but how did he have that relationship? The Spirit wasn't given. Yes, ma'am.
He was taught that from the time he was little, and they were taught. I don't know if you've ever watched TV, but they showed Matthew speaking, and in the book of Matthew, showed Matthew speaking, and they pointed over to his son, and his son picked right up where he was at and finished teaching, and then he kind of saw like this, and then he picked right back up.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth. He
Word of mouth.
taught that word of mouth so much that he knew it inside and out, knew what it said, knew what it was about, whole 9 yards. And then on top of that, he didn't just know those words, he had that communion.
You had that experience.
Yeah.
So how important is that for us to read this word and rehearse that word to ourselves? So it's not just reading, you have to know what. Now, they didn't have the reading, but they had the word that was spoken to them by the people before them, and they rehearsed it to themselves. So it wasn't about reading, it was about rehearsing that word that they heard and believing it. Yes, ma'am.
You know how there's generational curses, and
Mhm.
there's also generational blessings, where God's faithful from generation to generation?
Yes. Yes. My question was, if there's generational curses or that generational no blessing and faithfulness from generation to generation. That's a question.
Man, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Grandpa Charlie.
Charlie. Yeah. Uncle Charlie is a great guy. I have followed his ways, he said, and have not turned aside. I have not departed from his command, but I have treasured his words more than my daily food. No, he didn't have the written word, but he had the spoken word. And this is what we need to do with each other all the time. His spoken word, to speak the word to each other. You know, you might meet some people from time to time, and I've met people, and I've heard people say, I can't talk to them. They'll say, all they have to do is talk the Bible. They always do that. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what we're supposed to do. And the reason we get tired of them is because we don't have a word to speak back. That's why. We're supposed to. Now, but those people, we are also supposed to have some regular language to speak to. We can't just walk around just quoting scripture all the time because there's stuff going on in the world we need to be able to see. So we don't, we just don't want to be idiots, okay?
I think I have a problem with that. It's having a normal conversation.
I'm going to repeat your sister.
I think it was from when I was bedridden.
I'm sure it is.
A long time.
I'm sure it is. You went through a lot of stuff, and in time, but don't let it be a problem. Just stay with it, because there'll come a time if you just get away from it, you'll wish you hadn't.
Yeah, because I told God I'd be with you 24/7 and no one else.
Right. That's exactly
You said
right.
you had to be my hands and feet, and I'm still with you.
Don't be too quick to get away from that, because the time is going to come. You are going to need that, and it's not that far away. Yeah. And there are going to be people looking for you. Yeah. You're going to need that. I mean, the time is getting to the point where you're going to need people who can speak that word, because these are going to be gone.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to think about.
Yeah, that's why I keep praying for us, not just to know one scripture, but to
Right.
know what's going on
We need
in
to,
that chapter, to know.
we need to know, you need to know the word. That's for every Christian. We need to know the word, because I really believe in my whole heart, the time is going to come, this is going to be gone. It's going to be pretty close to outlawed in the world that we live in today.
You made me sad.
Okay? Yes, sir.
It says in Psalms 119 about thy word, and I hid in my heart that I might not sin. You know,
We-
you gotta hide his word.
We speak it every Sunday. Every Sunday. Part of our Bible class. And that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to get this word. So you may not know it by page number, but you need to have this word in you. Yes.
And that's the Holy Spirit, because I've read the Bible from cover to cover quite a few times in my life.
Mhm.
And even though I have memory problems from the pulmonary embolism, it's amazing that he brings all that to my
And
remembrance.
see, that's the word too. He says that if we get it in here,
Yeah.
he will bring it back to you.
He does.
But we have to study it. We have to get it inside, and the Spirit will bring it back. Yeah. But that is one of the things that we need to do. Study this word. Just study it. We read it just like we used to read a Reader's Digest. We need to read this word and get it inside of us. But I really believe that the time is going to come that only thing we're gonna have is what we studied and put it out.
No, I don't read, I do study. Before, when I was a young Christian years ago, baby, I read, but now I really study.
Yeah.
And he takes me back to other things that I read in other books, that's the very same thing coincides. Wow.
We need it. Just like Joe just said. I esteem his words, esteem his word, the words of his mouth more than my necessary food.
Yes.
This is why, it's one of the reasons we were saying when we're fasting, we need to be eating the word. Yeah, we need to be eating
What
that.
if you're at work and you can't read like you want to when you're fasting?
If you're at work, well, you gotta do your job too, so you have to read after you get off work. But you gotta honor God when you're at work. So you don't, I know a preacher that decided that he was gonna go ahead and read at work and, got fired.
But can you still fast while you're at work?
Oh,
Oh, okay.
sure. Did it a many days. Yes.
I eat fast in the morning, you know. And, I usually don't eat that much in the morning, you know. And, God told me to get up, get fast in the morning, go like, maybe start at 2, 5, and then just go to the next day.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. You
That's when I
just,
eat them, you know.
yeah, you used to do like I used to do.
Daytime.
You fast from 10 o'clock at night to 6 in the morning. You can't count that one.
No, I'm talking about, that's when I eat them, you know.
Got you. I
And,
okay.
God said, just don't do it in the morning, you know, all the time, do it at different times, you know. Sometimes they do it, 2 meals, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe a whole day. You know?
Yeah.
I remember when we used to do it there at the church, for Bible study, you know.
Yeah, that's how the Bible said it started.
Yeah, yeah, really fast, like all day.
Yeah.
Well, we started that morning.
We started, actually, we started on Monday night and fast until Tuesday
Yeah,
night.
yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that was something else. But we learned a lot too.
Yeah, that's how Bible study started.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that fast from 10 o'clock at night to 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay.
Because I would eat so much, you know, I wouldn't think of food or nothing like that, and then I couldn't really, I prayed, you know, but I couldn't get into the word like I wanted to do, you know, because I was working, you know.
Right, exactly. Exactly. That's what she
4
was talking
o'clock,
about.
2 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
You just have to make your reading time at another time.
Yeah, yeah.
But what he said, if he fast pace of eating is in the evening. You know, most people eat during the day, but I guess it's at night. So-
Yeah, I understood what you're saying. I did understand what you're saying. Your best thing would be, in a case like that, you have to make your fast. One thing you have to do is make a time to fast. You have to make a time to get off work.
Yeah, too.
Yeah, you have to make a time to get off work. You can't be one of those people that live for work. You just can't. Otherwise, you kill yourself. Yeah, you have to make some time for that. Fasting has to be planned, just like work has to be planned. You're gonna fast one day a week, take off work, you can fast, we do it.
Oh, that's true.
Now, remember, the Lord expects you to take a day off work. Yeah, okay, go back to jail.
You say, fast,
Yes,
should be planned out,
yes, sir.
you should think about it first and stuff like that, yeah.
That way you can't ruin it, you can't blow it. Well, you could if you let the enemy trick you into it. But if you plan it, you can make sure what day you fast, what time you fast.
But fast can only go for 2.
If the Lord does it that way, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay, verse number 13, but he is in one mind, and who can turn him? And what his soul desires, even that he does. For he performs the thing that is appointed for me. And I'm going to see, Job says, I don't get to do what I want to do. He tells me what to do.
That's right.
He does what he wants me. I don't get to say, well, no, you can't do that. He does what he wants. and many such things are with him. Therefore am I troubled at his presence when I consider I'm afraid of him. For God makes my heart soft, and the Almighty troubles me, because I was not cut off before the darkness, neither hath he covered the darkness from my face. Job says, number 11. I have stayed on God's fast. I have followed his ways and not turned aside. I have not departed from his commands. Whatever his commands are to me, I'm not departed from it. I have treasured his words more than my daily food. But once he has made his decision, who can change his mind? Whatever he wants to do, he does. So he will do to me whatever he has planned. He controls my destiny. No wonder I'm so terrified in his presence. When I think about it, terror grips me. God has made me sick at heart. Terrified. And people go, I'm not afraid of God. You better be. You better be, because he can do whatever he wants. When I think of it, terror grips me. He has made me sick of heart. The Almighty has terrified me. Darkness is all around me, and it's thick. Impenetrable darkness is everywhere. This is how human beings, God can cover you. God can make it dark around you, and everybody else has got light. So Job is not paying any attention to them whatsoever. Like, man, God does what he wants to do, when he wants to do it, and how he wants to do it. And you're telling me that, oh, if you do this, you gotta do that. Okay, he's having this conversation here, basically speaking to himself.
Yeah.
He has encouraged himself because they haven't done it. It's like, okay, you guys just don't get it. You guys just don't get it. So I'm just gonna sit here and weigh this thing out for myself. And I'm gonna move on into chapter 24. Because I think there just isn't as much, because Job, he's having an argument with him, he's just not talking with him. It's like, y'all ain't doing me no good. You're up here telling me all of this craziness, and you're not having it. So why should I listen? I'm just not hearing what you're saying. So you're talking about if everything you're telling me that when a person is bad, God judges them right now. So he's going to talk to them a little bit in this chapter. This is what they think, that God judges them right now. And so Job's going to speak to them a little bit. Why, seeing times are not hidden from the Almighty, do they that know him not see these days? Some remove the landmarks, they bodily take away flocks and feed them thereof. They drive away the ass of the fatherless. They take the widow's ox for pledge. They turn the needy out of the way. The poor of the earth hide themselves together. Behold, as wild asses in the desert, go they forth to their work, rising betimes for a prey. The wilderness yieldeth food for them and for their children. They reap everyone his corn in the field, and they gather the vintage of the wicked. They cause the naked to lodge without clothing, and they have no covering in the cold. These are wicked people doing this to poor people. And they say, God just takes care of them right away. Job said, really? What's happening? Why are they still doing this if God's going to judge them right away? Job's like, I don't see that happening. So why is it that this is going on if this is what God does? I don't see this happening. So we went from verses 1 through 7. So Job was saying, if that's what you see, he said, why doesn't the Almighty bring the wicked to judgment then? Verse number 1. Why must the godly wait for? Why must we wait for him in vain? Why has God not taken them and brought the judgment on them? This is what you say, that the wicked are punished right away. Why do we see this still happening? Why are we sitting back waiting for God in vain? Why are we waiting for judgment to happen to the wicked? You say that God is judging them right now. Why do we still see them taken from the people? Evil people steal land by moving the boundary markers. In other words, this is my land marker, and that's theirs going that way. But they move the marker over here, and they take that much of my land.
Yeah.
Why hasn't God judged them? Evil people steal land by moving the boundary marker. They steal livestock and put them in their own pastures. But you're telling me that God judges them right away. Doesn't happen that way. God doesn't, oh, they living great now. Judgment day is coming. They take the orphan's donkey and demand the widow's ox as security for a home. She just got one animal, and you're going to take that because you loaned her a little money. Well, what good is the money? You just took the animal. The poor are pushed off the path. The needy must hide together for safety. That's verse number 4. Like the donkeys in the wilderness, the poor must spend all their time looking for food, searching even in the desert for food for their children. They harvest a field they do not own, and they glean in the vineyards of the wicked. All night they lie naked in the cold without clothing or covering. Wow. And you say that the wicked are judged right away. But here are good people I've been suffering. And you tell me God just takes care of them right now. This is God's not like that. But back up here, you said, God does what he wants. And he does. But according to your judgment, verse number 8. They are wet with the showers of the mountains. That's the dew coming down. And embrace the rock for want of a shelter. They got hide on the rocks. They pluck the fatherless from the breast, and they take a pledge of the poor. They cause him to go naked without clothing, and they take away the sheep from the hungry. I'm sorry, let's get another drink, guys. They're soaked by the mountain showers, and they huddle against the rocks for want of a house. The wicked snatch a widow's child from her breast, taking the baby as security for a loan. And you say God is judging the wicked right now. It's not the way it works. God has a different plan. They cause him to go naked without clothing, and they take away the sheep from the hungry. Wow. The poor must go about naked without any clothing. They harvest food for the others while they themselves are starving. But you keep telling me that God is, see, Job is just saying, God, you're wrong. You're wrong. Which makes oil, verse number 11, without their walls, and tread their wine presses and suffer thirst. Men groan from out of the city, and the soul of the wounded cry out. Yet God layeth not father to them. They are of those that rebel against the light. They know not the ways thereof, nor abide in the paths thereof. The murderer rises with the light, killeth the poor and needy, and in the night is as a thief. Kills in the daytime, robs at night. The eye also of the adulterer waited for the twilight, saying, no eye shall see me, and disguises his face. In the dark they dig through houses which they had marked for themselves. In the daytime they know not the light. For the morning is to them even as the shadow of death. If one knows them, they are in the terrors of the shadow of death. He is swift as the waters. Their portion is cursed in the earth. He beholdeth not the way of the vineyards. Drought and heat consume the snow waters. So doth the grave those which have sinned. The wound shall forget him. The worm shall feed sweetly on him. He shall be no more remembered. And the wilderness shall be broken as a tree. He evil entreated the barren that beareth not, and does not good to the widow. He draweth also the mighty with his power. He riseth up, and no man is sure of life. Though it be given him to be in safety, whereof he rested, yet his eyes are upon his ways. They are exalted for a little while, but are gone and brought low. They are taken out of the way, all other, and cut off as the tops of the ears of corn. And if it be not so, who will make me a liar and make my speech nothing worth?
Now he's asking for it.
Huh?
I said, now he's asking for it.
Yeah, well, he is, but he's just saying. But what he is saying, every one of them knows. But they come up there with this argument that the wicked, God just does this to the wicked. And really, have you guys seen this going on today?
In verse number 16, where it says they know not the way, is we're talking about Jesus? Is Jesus being the way?
Verse number 16, he's talking about they don't know the light. In other words, they do all their work in back after dark. That's what it says. Verse number 16, right?
Mm-hmm.
They know not the light. Yeah, they do everything after dark. When light comes up, they're gone. They hide themselves. Yeah, that's what they're talking about. Listen.
Yeah, we got to keep remembering, they don't know about Jesus.
There's no Jesus at that
There's no
point.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And there's, and
There
there's
is,
also,
it is done.
yeah.
Right, he hasn't been born yet. Yeah, he has not been born. There's a Jesus, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He still hasn't come down.
There is nobody that can do it. So,
Yes, ma'am.
so in this chapter, what I'm hearing is that Job is saying, this is exactly what I know. You're telling me one thing, but this is what I know to be true.
This is what's happening in our day today. This is what Job is saying. You are telling me all of this stuff over here that God, when a wicked person is wicked, God takes care of them right now. And you're saying I'm being judged because I'm a wicked person. The reason I'm going on like this. What about these wicked people? Why are they still wicked, living wickedly? If that be the case, you're telling me that God handles them like He's handling me, and I'm telling you no, because all of these people are still doing the same thing. That's what He's saying. So your judgment is not right. You have no idea what you're saying. That's what Job is saying to him. So your judgment, not paying attention to you. Yes, ma'am.
In verse 13, where it says, they are those that rebel against the light, they know not the ways thereof, nor abide in the paths thereof. Is that talking about they are those that rebel against the light? I know Jesus wasn't come in the flesh yet, but is that what it's referring to? The light Jesus, and they know not the ways of God thereof, nor abide in the paths of righteousness?
Okay. Verse number 13.
Mm-hmm.
They are of those that rebel against the light. They know not the way thereof, nor abide in the paths thereof. Men groan, go back up to 12. Men groan out of the city, and the soul of the wounded cry out. Yet God layeth not Father to them. They are of those that rebel against the light. They know not the ways thereof. not nor abide in the path thereof. The murderer rising with the light, killeth the poor. Okay, you see that they're rising with the light. He's talking day and night.
Okay.
Yeah, he's talking day and night. When he's talking darkness and light, he's talking day and night.
Okay, so when you say that battle against fire, it's talking about the battle against daytime?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're not doing anything in the daytime. Everything they're doing is after darkness.
Now they do it in the daytime.
Oh, yeah. Now, it doesn't matter, because why? I have my right, and I can do whatever I want to do. And I'll hide it on one of the amendments in the Constitution. That's what we're doing. And if that amendment don't say that, I got enough money, I will pay me a slip lawyer.
Change it.
That's right. That's what we're doing now. What's good is bad, and what's bad is good. That's the way we made it. If that ain't right, we'll pay somebody to change it. Okay, here we are. We're at almost 7:30, and we're gonna get ready to go to the house. Is that okay with everybody, or do we want to go on to the next chapter?
What's the house?
That's where we live.
Oh.
You gotta go home.
You didn't tell me you were a little slow.
I'm Charlie's granddaughter.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness, Liz. I know, we don't usually talk like that at church, do we? We say home.
Can you tell we're related?
She's like, what house? We got?
What is a house?
You gotta become childlike.
Yeah, not that much. Jan, would you like to dismiss us tonight?
Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you, Lord, for the word tonight. Let us be able to glean from what we learn and understand. I ask you, Father, to be with us, Lord, tonight as we go our ways. Give us protection on the way home. Let us be able to lay down and sleep with good sleep tonight and wake up in the morning. I would ask you to be with Pastor Steve and Ms. Sheila as well through the night, Father, and give us strength and healing, Father, in their bodies. I just thank you, Father, once again for this word. Thank you, Father, for everything that you do, you've done, you're going to do, you keep on doing. I ask you, Father, to be with all my brothers and sisters in the Lord, Father, until we meet again, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, guys, be safe going home.
In this year.
Look forward to, let me get this camera here first.
Lord, coming back. You gonna be really singing? Okay.